Hey everyone, it's Kaya. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about starting over in your 30s. It's not something that I ever thought would have happened to me. Not that it's bad. I am such a planner. Ever since I was in high school, I planned out what my life would look like. I love a spreadsheet. I love a journal. And, I always had this goal for my life of how it would look, how my career would look, how my partner would look. And I thought if I put a lot of energy into planning and conceptualizing and communicating my plans and agreeing upon that with my, ex-partner, that it would come true, and that is what my life would look like. And I think that for some people it does, and for some people it doesn't, and for me it didn't. Just a little bit of background. I am about a year separated from my spouse and finalizing the divorce process, and over the course of the last year I have been working on just radically accepting what my life looks like, realizing that no matter what you plan, that things don't, always go according to plan. And, just really reimagining what my life could look like. I have always held this belief of what my life would look like. I thought I would always be a mother. I would get married and never get divorced. I thought I would always work a 9 to 5. And now it's really like, while I'm in this free fall kind of era before I really get to my next solid phase in life, like I can reimagine any kind of life that I want, like I always thought it would look one way, and now I'm challenging my own beliefs and realizing that like my life can be happy in many other ways. Like it doesn't only have to be that I'm a mother, that I get remarried, that I have a long-term partner, that I work a 9 to 5, that I'm in the same career path that, I have a master's degree in. Everything can look so different if I want it to. There's beauty in having different options and reimagining what those options can be. But before I could come up with different options for my life, which, I have been just like playing around with, I did have to go through some pretty hard radical acceptance, which sometimes it's like hard to let go of pre-existing beliefs that you've had about yourself. And a lot of those beliefs made up my identity. And now I'm slowly starting to let go. And as you let go of beliefs that you've always had, it also creates so much more self-knowledge, empathy for yourself, and then that translates into like also empathy for others. It makes you curious about other people's journey in this life. It makes you so open-minded. It makes you just like, you can imagine all the possibilities now. You're not stuck into like, this is the right way, this is what I'm gonna do, this is who I am, this is how I act. Now I'm like, who knows? Like I'm so open to anything now, like I am really just on a self-discovery journey. But on the self-discovery journey, one of the main pillars of that self-discovery journey has been radical acceptance. And it's radical acceptance of the things that I can't change. There's kind of a power in being able to let go of the things I can't change now and just focusing on the things that I can control, right? Like we can't control everything in this life. And throughout my teens and 20s and even into my 30s, I really held on to control with a death grip. I know I have some anxious tendencies that, translate into like wanting to control and plan out my life and make sure everything goes according to plan for X, Y, and Z. And radical acceptance has let me like let go of that control and in turn like be less anxious and just like go with the flow. Growing up, I've always had the mindset of like, work really hard. If you push and push and push, things will go your way. And now I realize that like, especially from my marriage, like if you push so hard in the wrong direction, and it's not working out, then it's like really not meant to be. Like if you have to work extremely hard at something, maybe that's not a thing that's meant to be in your life, right? And that's not something I ever had the mentality about before, but I am such a more like go with the flow kind of person now, you know? If something's meant for me, it will stay in my life. And like, you know, like let's say sports, like I will work hard at something. My marriage, I will work hard on it, but to an extent, like not to the extent of self-harm. It's good to have balance. Okay, let's get into things that I have had radical acceptance about. These are things that I can't change. 1, I might not find a partner, and that's okay. And like, guess what? At the end of the day, I have me. That would have been terrifying to me in my teens, in my 20s, and in my early 30s. And now I'm just like, you know, I have me. I have me day to day. I'm going to give myself that love. And I don't need to like look outside myself for that love and validation. But if that person comes along and they are super compatible, like welcome into my life. But I'm not gonna like try to fit a square peg into a round hole, you know, like that. I'm not gonna make my life harder by having a partner in my life. Like this person should only make my life easier and happier. And that is something I compromised in my 20s. Like that is just not something I'm compromising now. So what I can control versus what I can't control with finding a partner. 1, I can't control if I do find that person, but you know, what can I control? I can control if I go to social events and meet people. I can control, you know, asking my friends around if they know any single people. I can put myself out there. I can try new clubs and experiences. Not that I'm trying to date right now, but you know, in the future, like these are things that I can control. And there's also a peace of mind of knowing that like I'm socializing, I'm meeting friends, I'm putting myself out there, I'm trying new things. If I don't meet that person, like that is okay. Like I'm having new experiences, I'm trying the best I can. And if the perfect person comes along, then great. If they don't, then great. You know, like I have me. So I always believed that I would have 2 or more kids. I'm getting more up there in age. My biological clock is like ticking away, and that's all fine and good. But I've just radically accepted that like I might not find a partner and I might not have children, and you know, that's okay. Like I can still have a beautiful life full of so much like richness and beauty and experience so many cool new things and spend so much time with family and loved ones that I might not have kids, and that might be great. So I can't control if I find a partner and I have biological kids, but I can control, you know, if I want to help the community, you know, like I could be a big sister, I could do a foster program and foster for a little bit, I could adopt if I wanted to, I could babysit my cousin's daughter. So I can be around kids and give back to the community, and kids are really the future, you know, so I do want to give back in that way. But I don't necessarily have to have my own children in order to help the future of society. A big thing that I learned this year is that there was a lot of radical acceptance that I needed to do over the fact that if you're going through a hard time, that your friends and family won't always show up in the ways that you really need them to. And it can be really disappointing, and it can change how you look at friendships and relationships with family that you thought were so solid, and it can really show people's like true character. I think it shows what people have true capacity for, and it shows the level of where they can meet themselves. Like it is not about you if someone can't show up for you or have empathy for you if you're going through a hard time. You know, it's never fair to judge someone when they're going through the hardest time of their life. I think it just shows like the lack of empathy and care that they have for themselves and where they need to do the inner work. And some people never will. But once you do learn the amount of empathy someone has, and if it's on the lower side, it is important to note that and not forget that. Take that as a lesson. Like they shouldn't be the first person you go to in the future. Or if you're going through something really hard, maybe like don't share that information with them if there's going to be judgment. It's like such a hard lesson that I've learned. Now I just limit information that I tell certain people now because I know it's going to be met with judgment, and I just like don't have the capacity for that. So sometimes I'll maintain these relationships. Like if it's at a group gathering, I do limit the information I share now, and I hold my cards like a little closer to my chest. And I think that's also a problem with like, I do really wear my heart on my sleeve, and I'm like radically honest sometimes when I shouldn't be. So that's also a lesson that I'm learning about, you know, learning who a safe person is, learning who a safe person isn't. And honesty doesn't always have to look like telling everyone everything. It can, you can be honest with like holding your cards closer to your chest, and have discernment about what information you share with people. So saving money has always been a huge part of my life, and I've always took really great pride in, you know, monitoring my finances, saving the most that I can, making financially smart decisions, like in my early 20s, like living with my parents, even though I had a really great full-time job, in order to save up for like a future house. So after I was separated from my spouse, living alone is so hard and so financially expensive. Like I really took splitting rent with my partner for granted. And now I really understand what people are saying about living alone is so hard. It's so hard to be single. Like I really internally know that now. Like that is not a lie. I really enjoy the place I'm living. I just re-signed my lease, and that was a big decision. But I knew that I wanted to live in my apartment. I feel really safe in my apartment. I have decorated exactly how I like it. My apartment has such high security. I feel so safe. I love the parking in my apartment. I love the accessibility to different activities that I do. So I knew, even though my apartment is so expensive and it's draining my finances, I knew I didn't want to leave. And I just had to radically accept that living alone is hard. I know that I don't want roommates, and I'm gonna do different things to make money, like different side hustles, in order to live in the place that I want to live. And I'll do the side hustles on my own terms, but I'm radically accepting that, like, even though right now I don't feel super financially stable, that in the future I will. You know, like right now it might feel a little rocky. I'll do some extra things on top of my career in order to bring in more cash, but it's not always going to be like that. And it's okay that it's like that right now. Like, it's okay that I've been more financially stable in the past, and right now it's just a hard period. And that's okay. Even though it doesn't feel okay, it is okay. And I've always figured it out. I figured it out in the past, I'm figuring it out right now, and I'm going to figure it out in the future. And I trust myself in that way. Thank you all for tuning in this week and listening to how I've started over in my 30s. I appreciate you staying till the end, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week. And if you had to start over in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, I don't know, 100, let me know in the comments, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye, you guys.